I play Bedwars a lot, specifically doubles with my friend IG and Ezra, as you can see in these 3 videos. So over time, I've gotten a preference for certain maps over others, and then I just kind of thought, why not share it with around 14 people on the internet? So that's how I got here. Right now, as of December 22nd, 2020, the day I wrote the script, there are 27 solo doubles maps on the Hypixel server. I'm excluding all of the seasonal maps for various reasons, one being that I have yet to play all of them. Today, I'll be walking you through my placement for each of these maps. Disclaimer, I will be bashing and making fun of a lot of OG and very popular maps, many that most would consider, like, the highest tier maps. It's just my opinion, yours is almost definitely different, and let's just keep it that way. Also, some of these maps, I won't have super crazy specific reasons for liking or disliking, it's just my list, and I shouldn't really have to have a reason like that. Which also means that this is subject to change a lot. In a month, I'll probably have a lot of updates and add-ons to this list. With that out of the way, for easy navigation, I've split the 27 maps into 4 different groups. We have the dumpster fires containing 5 maps, the mediocre maps containing 10 maps, the good maps containing 7 maps, and the S-tier maps containing 5 maps. As you can see, I have my bottom 5 and my top 5 as their own separate tiers, and then I've split up the other 17 as I felt was fair. The dumpster fires. These maps suck. I stay away from these maps as much as possible, and I recommend you never play any of these. They all have very specific reasons for just being bad. They could just look gross and play bad, and yeah, that's pretty much what all of them are. 27th, Lotus. This map is gross. It's just bad. There are so many things wrong with this map. I don't even know where to start. This map first came to the game in April 2017, so it's fairly OG, but the general feelings I get from people is agreement. This is an awful map. This map is not currently on rotation, thank goodness. I have a list of problems. The bases are at this odd, angly shape, and there's no, proper roof or walls, so it's just weird, and you can't really hide up top because the team below can easily see you basically everywhere. The aesthetic to this map is just weird. It has this colorful, bright middle that looks amazing, but all the bases and the diamond gens are just gray and dull, and the contrast just gives the whole thing a weird feeling, and a headache. The rushes are not obvious. Because of this random stone island in the middle, plenty of people who maybe haven't been playing this map for too terribly long rush that way rather than side rushing. I hate the location of the diamond gens. It's like this on a lot of maps like Glacier and Hollow, and in general, I don't like this design, although we will see a few major exceptions later on. So yeah, Lotus, definitely a dumpster fire. 26th, Acropolis. A lot of people probably saw this one coming. I haven't met a single person who actually really likes this map. It is so bad. This map was literally added 4 months ago, and everyone hates it. The bases are lined up in 4s, which makes it so that not every base has the same distance to the middle of the map. There are some bases that just empty over to the void. I mean, sure, you can't get rushed the wrong way, but, that's not a Bedwars map. The fact that there is this much luck involved in where you spawn is just not good for Bedwars. Also, this map really encourages camping. The diamond gens are so close. It's great for you, but there are too many people who can just rush mid without even rushing their first base, get 10 diamonds in less than a minute, and that's just too OP for someone with lesser game skill. And then the emerald gens are lined up weird like the bases, and it's harder to navigate and understand when you're used to the classic Bedwars maps. I actually really like the aesthetic though. This map looks amazing, but the play here is just so janky. 25th, Playground. I think half the reason I dislike this is the rushes. The rushes themselves aren't bad, but look at how easy it is to get to mid from the diamond gens. It's not great. Close to mid is cool when done correctly, and I think Playground just fails that entirely. The map doesn't even look great either. It's a cool concept that doesn't quite make it in the finished product. Middle is nice, easy to rotate, easy to understand, and not ugly. However, the bases and diamonds are just a huge problem that should not have been here at all. 24th, Zarzul. This will probably be the most controversial map that I have here in Dumpster Fires. This one I feel like is one of those cases where either you hate it like me, or you love it. Honestly, this map, to me, just looks weird. Yeah, pretty petty, I know, but this map doesn't really play great either. This map falls mediocre in that case, except for one specific thing: the placement of the diamond gens. They are so far out. Who wants to go there? It's not too bad a problem in doubles, as one person can go to diamonds while the other holds down the base, but the diamonds are so far away in solo, and just in general, that it is so overpowered when you have even Prot 2. Middle is meh, the bases are meh, and it really comes down to the diamonds and the not so appealing design. Also, I didn't script this in, I completely forgot, but I really hate the way that the beds are. Like, they're off to that one side like that, and it's just weird and confusing, and I don't like it. I would rather they were centered properly on the map instead of being at that weird angle like that. 23rd, Krogorm. I'm not alone in hating this map. Now, I haven't played it all that much, seeing as it was removed from rotation only a few months after I first started playing on Hypixel, so I don't have much practice here. Again, I don't have a lot of specific problems, but the rushes are a little weird, but understandable. The bases are okay, mid isn't too far off, but what this map really lacks in is an easy to understand design for the middle. It's all over the place. As a noob, back when I could play this map, I avoided going to mid simply for the fear that I would be there too long and someone would take my bed. Also, mid just looks gross. I'm not really sure what it is. I actually really like this ruined castle aesthetic, but I think it's just too formatted and patterned, and there's just too much empty, flat space for this to actually look decent. Now that we've got the bottom 5 out of the way, we move on to the mediocre maps. This is the largest section here, including 10 out of the 27 maps. These are maps that I play every once in a while when I feel like it, but in general I don't spend a lot of time practicing and figuring out these maps. 22nd, Rooftop. This one just looks weird to me. That's most of it. The buildings just feel off, and I don't know, it just has like this gloomy feel to it, to me at least. Like, I wouldn't want to live in this city at all. The rush to diamond is just too high. I don't like having to bridge so high in such a short rush. Like, people get on maps like Biohazards and Case for having long rushes, but this is almost as bad. It just doesn't feel like it because you're building up the whole time. Middle is fine. Everything in this map is fine, but that's exactly why it's here. It's just okay. 21st, Ashfire. This map gets a ton of hate. A little more than it deserves, maybe? This map feels big. It's not that big, but it feels gigantic. I really like the way this looks. I don't know what the builders were going for, but boy does it look fantastic. However, problems are abound in this map. The rushes are so confusing. It's that same weird design that's on Steampunk and Krogorm, and it is so confusing to figure out which way is actually the right way. Middle also isn't perfect. You have to climb up and down these tall pillars, which takes time and health, which is something you have to calculate and account for when there are opponents close by. This map isn't great, but I don't think it's quite as bad as people make it out to be. 20th, Gateway. Gateway is a part of the most recent rotation change to Bedwars, released last November alongside Lightstone. This map is definitely the best received of the many new maps Hypixel added throughout 2020. Like, so many maps this year, my goodness. I don't understand what makes this map so appealing to people. Me and the majority of my friends agree that this map is bad. The aesthetic is this weirdo mash of Amazon and Krogorm, and I don't think it works. The rushes are so long, and the gen is so fast. The fireballs are literally flying the first 5 seconds after the game even starts, and yes, that is a very bad thing. I think the one thing that puts this map this high is, well, that the other maps are just worse. But also, I do like mid. It's a bit confusing at first, but once you get the hold of it, it's super easy to get around. Like, they should really use this design in some more maps. Also, the rushes are pretty clear despite them being so long. Mid is a decent distance from the bases as well, which gets this a few extra points. So overall, a pretty bad map, but not awful, and definitely really overrated. 19th, Hollow. This is an old map, and I think that it really shows. I believe this was the first map to ever have the diamond gens placed like that, and as I said, as a general rule of thumb, I don't like that very much. It's a very basic look, and there isn't much to Hollow that makes it any more interesting than other maps, and that's mostly why it's down so low. Just too basic and uninteresting. Not really anything wrong with it, but not interesting. 18th, Steampunk. Yet another case where this map gets so much hate. I'm starting to see a pattern where if there's the diagonal rush in the backside of the base, people hate the map. I don't love it, but it's not that bad. Like, calm down. Steampunk stuff in Minecraft is really cool. I love it a lot, actually, and this map isn't great when it comes to that category, but it doesn't completely fail. Middle is a bit hard to get around sometimes, and the rushes are definitely confusing, but this does make for an enjoyable game every now and again. 17th, Babylon. Another recent addition. I haven't actually heard too many people with strong opinions on this map, so I'm just going to assume that it's generally just okay. And to me, that's exactly what it is. The random islands on the outskirts seem to exist only to confuse new players and make them suffer. Wow, Hypixel, why you gotta be so mean? Middle is a bit weird, but it's not gross or anything. I actually think this is one of the most well-built maps Hypixel has to offer. You can really tell the builders put a lot of time and care into this map, and it really shows. Everything is a decent distance from each other, and yeah, it makes a decent, well-done map. Nothing I really hate here. 16th, Crypt. This is going to get me a lot of hate. This map is such a fan favorite, but it's always kind of baffled me. I mean, I like Crypt, don't get me wrong, but it's just a bit Nothing exciting, and nothing that detracts from the gameplay or the design. I'm not a big fan of the bases, though. If you like Crypt a lot, great. It's just not for me. 15th, Dragonstar. Same deal as Krogorm here. I haven't played this map very much, meaning my opinion is extremely likely to change on this map the minute it returns to rotation. This map is pretty easy to understand, and it looks decent. Still not sure what they were going for, but it's neat. It is kinda weird, though. 14th, Glacier. I used to love Glacier. I don't know what happened, but I slowly started liking it less and less. I don't have any comments here at all. Like, I can't think of anything, so this map is just okay. 13th, Speedway. Just like Crypt, I know this is going to get me a lot of hate. Same as Glacier, I used to really like it, but I slowly come to like it a little less. Also, like Glacier, I have no real specific reason to not like this map. It looks good, and it just plays okay. I just don't really know how to feel here. I think it mostly comes down to liking the remaining 12 maps just slightly better. The good maps. These are maps that I enjoy. I wouldn't call them my favorites, but I do find myself playing them a decent amount. 12th, Orchestra. Once upon a time, this was pretty much my favorite map, but then I found one specific problem that kind of ruined the whole thing. The rushes are way too close to mid. You actually have to technically rush mid before rushing the next base, which encourages camping, and also makes it so that you constantly lose your bed and are forced to clutch, which is not good for win streaks and other tryhardy things. So yeah, I really do love this map, it just really fails in that one specific area. 11th, Lighthouse. This is 100% the fan favorite. The one map that every tryhard plays, and I think that's why it's not so high for me. To me, this map is a bit overrated. Sure, everyone knows this map like the back of their hand, which makes it really good for longtime players, but also it's kind of overrated just because of that. Everyone says this is the best map, when personally there are tons of newer maps that are equal and better than this one. Now, if it pleases you to know, I really do love this map. I have no real gripes, and the rushes are a perfect distance. The general generator speed is a bit slow to modern standards, but it does discourage fireballs, placing them at a frequency that they were originally intended to be. Also, if it makes you feel better, this was almost in my top 10. It was such a toss-up between this one and the next one, and it all came down to one thing: the aesthetic. 10th, Orbit. Yep, I know people think this is a bad map. The worst map that 2020 brought, even, maybe. Although, how this is worse than Acropolis is beyond me. Sure, the rushes are really long, mid is odd, and the generator is too fast. Yeah, it is a very, very fireball spammy map. I'll give you that. But I think the one thing that pushes it over Lighthouse is simply that it looks better. I like the spacey theme, and it uses a larger variety of blocks than Lighthouse, which, in honesty, is a very simple look. Obviously, you don't want to be too simple, but also not too complex, and I think Orbit finds a happy medium between being overly complex and simplicity. 9th, Amazon. I used to hate this map, but the more I played it, the more it grew on me, to the point I was actually pretty disappointed when it got removed. I don't have much to say other than I like it. It's maybe is similar in aesthetic to others such as Lightstone, Gateway, Krogorm, etc., but it holds its own with its interesting, easy-to-understand design, and it also meets that same happy medium that Orbit does. It's not too simple like Krogorm, and it's not too detailed like Babylon. Really nice map. I hope they bring it back soonish. 8th, Siege. Another map that gets way more hate than I think it deserves. I was surprised to find when this came out that it was the only medieval doubles map. It just seems like such an obvious theme that they should have covered long ago, but they didn't. I love the way this looks, and the one thing holding this map back from being one of the greats is the annoying design of the middle. There are only stairs on one side. Bruh. I hear a lot of complaints that this map has too long a rush, but so does Rooftop and Gateway and a lot of other maps that are considered really good. So I see no reason for this to be such a hated map. 7th, Biohazard. Same story as Siege. Looks amazing, hated by the community. This time, however, my only complaint is the diamonds. They are really far out. Sure, it prevents people from rushing incorrectly, but also just makes it difficult to rotate around the map. They should be just a little bit closer, so that it's still further than the side rush to get to the other base, but more reasonable if you're just popping through to grab a bit of protection and a trap. Also, I love middle here. It's such a genius design that's super easy to get around, if you can make a couple 3-block jumps, that is. 6th, Airshow. Another fan favorite. Airshow is really good. No complaints, the other 5 are just a little bit better. The layout is simple and easy to understand and makes everything easy to access and the correct distance away. The other balloons make it easy to get to middle with only a few blocks without making it super close to the bases. The rushes are obvious and the bases are appropriate. The S-tier maps. We finally reached the top 5, the maps that I have favorited in the menu. The go-to maps when I want to play a quick, good game of solo or doubles. 5th, Lightstone. This map is the most recent addition to the map list, alongside Gateway. It is a callback to the early maps, with a decent length rush, a small middle with emerald gens close by, and the only thing that is a complaint is that it is super fireball spammy. You may notice that the diamond gen placement is the hollow design. Yep, this is one of the exceptions. I think for this map, it works. Plus, the bases are far enough away from it that it doesn't entirely encourage diamond rushing, which is good. This map isn't great to rotate, but it's not bad for it either, as mid is accessible to all bases. Overall, this is such a good map, and definitely the second best that 2020 has to offer. 4th, Skyrise. This map is literally Airshow. I mean, everyone compares this to Rooftop, which makes sense as it does seem to be directly derived from it, but just look at the layout. The diamond rush with the platforms between the diamond gens, leading to middle. The way middle is staggered, with 2 gens requiring you to stack up a little bit. The bases are short rushes to the diamond, and then a crazy long rush to the side. It's literally Airshow. So why is this one better than Airshow? Because Airshow is more enclosed. There's a roof over almost every platform, making it harder to see and a little bit harder to get around. I also like the aesthetic just a little bit more. It fits that same category that we talked about with Orbit. It's not too simple, but not overly complex either, making this the best map of the many maps that 2020 brought. Third, Waterfall. This map is great. The main thing that makes this map stand out is the lower and upper level design to the middle, which allows for a lot of cool gameplay and tricks that make it more fun and interesting with every game. The rush is a little bit longer than you'd expect for a slow iron old map like this, but it's still pretty short. It's not too fireball spammy, and the overall design is cool, just watch out for the big hole in middle. Yet again though, the diamonds are not pleasing. Not a huge fan of it, but I don't really know where a suitable place for it would be. That's basically all that's keeping this from being number 1. Second, Pernicious, the OG map, the original. The first ever Bedwars map, although it has been severely changed. This map is perfect. Not one complaint. Everything is perfect. I mean, I wish every map had this gen speed. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. I'm actually really mad that they removed this from rotation. It's so upsetting. It's just the perfect map. Everything from the layout to the design to the play and the aesthetic. I've never seen Mycelium look this good. If only every map was like this one. Finally, my favorite map ever. If you haven't used the process of elimination to figure it out, it's Solus. Yeah, surprising? There is so much to love about Solus that I can't possibly say it all here. The diamond gens are perfect. It prevents diamond camping by being slightly higher up, also making the use of TNT much easier. I'm pretty sure it's also the shortest rush in the game. The middle is easy to understand, but not too close together. It looks good. It plays amazing. What more could you ask for from a Bedwars map?